I gotta tell you guys, man, the coping and seething that is going on right now over Concord shutdown is absolutely legendary. We are seeing developers literally lie to people on Twitter talking about how it's perfectly fine that the game is shut down because they consider the game releasing in and of itself to be a win. I mean, these people have the lowest upon lowest standards when it comes to their actual products because they know that their fans, they don't have any. And the ones that they do, the modern audience, they're not going to support the game anyway. So they just consider it to be a success to be able to convince investors that they are doing something good with their money. Guys, we have an article here from That Park Place with a hilarious headline that reads, Concord lead character, designer John, whatever the fuck this last name is, claims the game being shipped at all is legendary after the game was shut down in less than 2 weeks. Yes, this guy named John, a developer on Concord, is trying to cope and seethe online and convince everybody, including you watching this video right now, that the game releasing is a win in and of itself. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. It says John, the lead character designer for Firewalk Studios Concord, claims that the game being shipped at all is legendary after the game was shut down in less than 2 weeks. Mind you, the game was shut down in 10 days. And you know what? I saw this meme, and I wish I had it on screen, but I can't bring it up because I don't have it anymore in the tab. But the meme was hilarious. It was essentially that Concord came out, nobody cared, the game died, and it is a perfect, accurate representation of the LGBTQ community. I mean, when I saw that meme, I fucking died laughing because of the irony. Firewalk Studios game director Ryan Ellis announced at the beginning of September that Concord was getting shut down on September 6th and that the company had ceased selling digital copies of the game. Furthermore, he revealed the company would offer full refunds for players who had purchased the game. He wrote this on PlayStation's official blog. Now it says, ironically, this announcement came after John had informed PC Gamer that he and Firewalk Studios were strapped in and ready to push it for years to come. Now, keep in mind, this is how you know that whatever they say is complete and utter bullshit, right? He literally just said, not even a couple of days before shutting the game down, that they were ready to push this game for years on end. I remember that, and I remember making fun of it too. I was like, there's no way it's going to last years on end, but I didn't think it was going to get shut down in 10 days. I thought it was going to be a few months to a year, but again, the faster the better, honestly, with a game like Concord. But this is why you cannot believe a single word that they say, right? When they try to tell you that a game that looks like an obvious flop is successful, just know that they're lying, right? We've seen so many examples of this. They did it with The Acolyte also on TV, where they try to say, oh, it's the most successful show on Disney+. That's what they said, word for word. The most successful show on Disney+ in 2024, and they canceled it. So don't listen to what the mainstream narrative is trying to tell you. Do not listen to what the mainstream shills are trying to tell you, because they are shills for a reason, right? They get so angry at the fact that we make money talking about this stuff in a truthful light, and they get mad about it because they have to talk about this stuff in a disingenuous light because they actually get paid by the mainstream. Their entire income, their career, their status in the industry is based on how hard they glaze the mainstream industry. So it is in their best interest to try to convince you that everything's fine while they're surrounded by fire. They're literally that meme, right? That dog meme. Everything's fine, but they're surrounded by fire. The game did not make it 2 weeks, given very few people purchased the game. The game only hit a peak concurrent player count of 697 on Steam, while PSN profiles indicated there was only 1,377 owners total. I mean, this game was a massive flop, bro. It really was. I think my streams make more money than Concord has ever made. It's fucking sad. Now, following the announcement, John wrote on X, to all the players who showed up for Concord, thank you. You really should not be thanking them. I mean, you should be questioning, why didn't the modern audience show up, right? You guys put this out there, right? You put out this game, and you targeted it and marketed it towards the modern audience. Nobody showed up. So at what point do you guys start questioning either your own decisions, or at what point do you start questioning where is the modern audience and why didn't they show up for this modern game, right? There's got to be many reasons why they didn't show up. Because if you marketed it for them and you basically virtue signal to them and you told them this game is for them and they're constantly on Twitter begging developers to make video games for them, where were they? Why didn't they show up for your modern audience game? I would be asking those questions instead of trying to pretend as if anybody showed up in the first place. You convinced 697 retards on Steam to spend $40 on a game that should have been free to play. The positivity and constructive feedback in the face of overwhelming noise was huge for everyone at Firewalk. Building a positive community was why we did this. We saw you. Every stream, post, thread, emoji. We saw it all. Just to let you know, it's really easy to see it all when there's barely anything out there, right? They're trying to say, hey, we saw every stream. What, the 5 streams? The 5 streams, if it was even that was streaming Concord. Concord was the lowest streamed game on Twitch, or one of the lowest streamed games on Twitch. Why? Like, of course you saw them all. There was only a couple to see anyway. Then they try to single out the noise. And this right here, overwhelming noise, this right here is exactly why you are a failure. And you will always be a failure. Because you're trying to pass off actual criticism of your game and what it's about and how gamers are saying they don't want this nonsense. You're trying to pass it off as overwhelming noise. I'm going to give you a prime example of how somebody who took massive amounts of negative criticism and ran with it and made something great from it, right? I'll give you 2 examples, okay? First example, Final Fantasy XIV. Massive negative noise around the initial release, right? Everybody hated it, including myself, okay? And I'm a Final Fantasy mega fan. As much as the grifters want to say I'm not, I am. I have the proof of it. I'm a Final Fantasy mega fan. That game 1.0 was absolutely fucking trash, okay? In every sense of the word, it was trash. They acknowledged the negative feedback, and not only did they turn it into a storyline, which blew a lot of people's minds, and it's amazing to me that they still did that. But they shut the fucking game down, and they gave you an ending cutscene that made it make sense for the story while you waited a little bit over a year for the game to come back in its current form, right? So instead of ignoring it and saying it was overwhelming noise and negativity, they took it, realized they fucked up, made the game better, and now they are immensely successful for it. That's example number 1. Example number 2, the Sonic movies, right? The reason why there's a Sonic 2 and a Sonic 3 that's about to come out right now is because they listened during Sonic 1. Do you remember the fucking ugly, insane creature that the Sonic producer actually tried to put out there as Sonic? Bro, the internet roasted them. The internet destroyed them. The internet had nothing but overwhelming negativity about that design. So what did they do? They didn't kowtow. They didn't run away and say, oh, it's just overwhelming noise. Thank you to everybody who thought Sonic looked good. No. They realized, oh, we need to go back to the drawing board. We got to fix this. We didn't do what the fans wanted. And we're going to fix it, and we're going to make it right. And guess what? Not only was the first movie successful, not only was the second movie successful, which never would have came if not the first one, now there's a third movie coming out featuring Shadow that is going to be successful, I am sure. So again, at what point do we admit, John, that this is your fault? At what point do we admit that this is the modern audience's fault, right? And I'm going to keep saying that because I know you motherfuckers don't like hearing it. But the fact of the matter is, this is your fault. You made a game for people that were never going to show up to it. That's the sad reality. The modern audience is extremely reliable in one thing and one thing only, and that's not showing up for the stuff they say they're going to show up for on Twitter. So if it was up to me, perhaps I would stop making video games for the modern audience, and perhaps I would start making video games for the actual gamers that are telling you what they want every single day. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.